Un gran gusto ver pues estas caras familiares, caras nuevas. Esos son, estamos aquí para aprender sobre una oportunidad excelente para conseguir financiamiento y apoyo para asistir y recibir capacitación, asistir a eventos. Me gustaría también aprovechar mientras esperamos a Denise destacar algunas iniciativas locales y particularmente de LABI en el mismo ámbito. Voy a compartir pantalla. Entonces, el primero sería, pues también tenemos un programa en LABI de apoyo para desarrollo de carrera, de capacitación. También está dividido en tres programas. La convocatoria está abierto en este momento hasta el 7 de julio. ¿Ok? Entonces, hay que ir planeando las actividades ahora y contactando potenciales anfitriones porque um, existe tres programas que están disponibles. Toda la información está en la página web, está en labi.lat actividades, podemos poner en el chat. Y es para, es para obtener apoyo para hacer trabajo o actividades de intercambio y asistencia a eventos. Hay algunos testimonios de algunos de los que previamente han aprovechado ese apoyo del ABI. Entonces, toda la información está en la página web. Si tienen dudas, siempre en cualquier momento pueden escribir al correo del ABI y recibir también pues, más orientación. El otro actividad muy importante es nuestra reunión anual, nuestro congreso, nuestro meeting, que este año va a ser en Buenos Aires, la linda ciudad de Buenos Aires, entre noviembre 9 a 12. Hay otro, la información más completa está en otro sitio web que es labimeeting.com. um, y en donde pueden ver los adelantos sobre el programa que este año va a enfocarse en dos tópicos principales, Data Science y infraestructura, construyendo foundations por datos que son abiertos, que son alineados a los principios FAIR y listo para incorporarse en inteligencia artificial, modelos y sistemas. Y el día 2, tecnología en acción, impulsando los avances científicos y biomédicos. Entonces ahí hay un poco más de información sobre los tópicos a incluir. Y también importante, hay algunos eventos satélites relacionados más a talleres. Uno sobre microscopía de superresolución y uno de 4 a 7 que es anterior de la reunión principal y también un taller sobre tomografía en matriz y esto está posterior al evento del LABI. ¿Ok? Entonces, va a haber mucho más información sobre esos eventos y los satélites llegando a la página pronto. Um, Datos importantes, sí tenemos algunos becas para asistir y muy pronto esto va a estar abriendo y también el registro para participar. ¿Ok? Entonces, otra vez, si tiene, si quiere más información, am, les recomiendo, si no son miembros todavía del ABI, pues por favor, unirse con sus detalles aquí. Van a recibir la información en forma de correos y también pues van a recibir información más actualizada posible sobre esos eventos. Y también pues tenemos todos nuestros medios sociales en donde hay constantemente anuncios, no solamente sobre actividades del AVI, pero las actividades más importantes del mundo, actividades en bioimagenología y en análisis de imágenes. pues eventos que están pasando en diferentes partes del mundo. Muy bien. Entonces, si alguien tiene dudas o preguntas sobre esa parte,
Ujú.
está, no sé si ya
Sí,
llegó.
eso iba a decir. Igual pueden poner las preguntas ahí o enviarlas también al mail. Yo ahora dejo el mail de contacto para que puedan escribir. Y sí, ya tenemos a Denise.
Ah,
Ahora,
muy bien.
antes de ir con Denise, también avisar por las dudas que, bueno, la presentación ahora va a ser en inglés, pero en todo caso pueden hacer la pregunta en español o pueden hacer también preguntas en portugués lá no chat y traducimos después. ¿Sí? Denise,
Muy
welcome.
bien. Pues sí, I will introduce Deniz. Deniz, welcome to the LABI workshop. The presentation for the webinar. It's great to have you here. Deniz is the program coordinator in Global BioImaging for the Imaging for All initiative, which is now in its second iteration. The first one was towards the end of 2024.
Right.
And Deniz has very kindly agreed to give a presentation to give us all the information, which I'm sure you're all keen to know about, regarding the different programs that exist or the different routes that exist to receive support for this course. So, Deniz, thank you very much. Please go ahead with the screen sharing and with your presentation.
Yes, I am going to share my screen. You see it now, but not as a slideshow, I suppose, right?
We still don't quite see it as a slideshow, no? We're seeing it as a file.
Yeah. So,
Now we see it as a slide. Yep, that's.
thank you. So, I will give this presentation in English. In Oliver, I only understood English, so yeah, it's going to be in English. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining today's informational webinar on Imaging for All. Imaging for All is basically a mobility funding program for researchers and imaging scientists based in low and middle income countries and who want to advance their scientific work using imaging technologies. The goal of the funding program is to help create a more equitable landscape for accessing imaging tools and expertise, and to promote the broader global use of these technologies. So the initiative is funded by the Wellcome Trust. It's a UK-based private science funder. Wellcome Trust awarded Global BioImaging with this cascading grant, and I'm the project manager for it. And I work at Global BioImaging, where I manage this program. So let me start with a quick introduction to Global BioImaging. Global BioImaging is a global network of imaging facilities and networks. Since 2016, we brought together 14 national and regional imaging networks under one umbrella, and we represent now 65 countries. In Latin America, our partners include LABI, LNMA of Mexico, and Sistemas Nacionales de Microscopía of Argentina. Our office is based in Heidelberg at European Molecular Biology Laboratory, and this is also where I sit. So here is a picture of the imaging facility where we are situated in. Yeah. So back to Imaging for All. So over the course of 2 years, we aim to fund more than 100 researchers and imaging scientists through 3 open calls. The program supports access to imaging instruments and services worldwide for experimental purposes, also hands-on training and skills development at core imaging core facilities and laboratories with imaging equipment, and participation in imaging related courses and workshops. These goals are supported through 3 types of grants: access grant, pro grant, and the training grant. As Chris mentioned, we are currently in our second open call. with applications open until the 15th of August. Yeah, so the deadline for the current call is 15th of August. You can so you can apply to these funds yeah, for many purposes, like accessing an imaging modality you don't currently have access to, learning a specialized sample preparation technique to bring home, seeking imaging-related expertise while, for example, developing an imaging assay, or setting up an optical system at home institution, improving your skills in image analysis, for example, or data management, or learning how to run an imaging core facility, so acquiring skills in core facility management. So these are just some examples, and certainly not the only ways one can use these funds to support your scientific work and career. So eligibility is as follows. Applicants must be affiliated with a not-for-profit institution and must be based in a low and middle-income country. And this is decided according to the OECD, the published OECD list. In Latin America, Uruguay and Chile, for example, are classified as high-income countries, and therefore they're not eligible as individual, so individual applicant scientists, but they're eligible as hosts. So hosts can be located anywhere in the world, actually, as long as they're imaging facilities or labs with imaging equipment and be situated in not-for-profit institutions. So let me explain the three grant types that we have. So if you want to visit a lab or imaging facility, you would apply either for the Access grant or the Pro grant. And if you want to attend a training course or workshop, you would apply for the training grant. So what is the difference then between the Access and the Pro grants? So the Access grant is open to applicants from master's level and above. The Pro grant is for applicants at PhD level and above, and it is also intended for those with a strong background in imaging. I mean, that said, it's a self-assessment, so in the end, you decide which fits your level. Imaging facilities, staff, and managers are welcome to apply to both of these grants. And both of these grants offer access to imaging instruments, either for experimental work or to build practical skills without necessarily running experiments. So between the two tracks, the hosts differ. In the Access grant, you can work with any lab or facility worldwide. In the Pro grant, you must choose a host that is a part of the larger Global BioImaging partner networks. Budget-wise, Access is supporting visits up to 10,000 euros, and the Pro grant supports longer visits up to 20,000 euros. So yeah, so this is again the Global BioImaging partner networks. So it must be, so for the Pro grant, the facility must be a part of this network. And and among this, we have kind of two separate lines. So we have confirmed host networks, and we have potential host networks. So facilities under the confirmed host networks, so it is established here that they have an open access system in place to regularly welcome external users. And facilities that fall under the potential host networks, they will need to complete a short Pro host eligibility form, so we can evaluate whether they already have an open access system in place. So open access here means that they regularly host users that are outside of their institutions in which they're based at. So once approved, they also once approved, they also become confirmed hosts. So for example, here's a list here of confirmed hosts from the first open call that we held. So for instance, Advanced Bioimaging unit in Uruguay and the Light Sheet facility in Chile are now confirmed pro-grant hosts because they applied for it in the first round, and they will stay that way. So yeah, about that. Yeah, back to the grant types. So once you know which grant type you're applying for, the next step is to decide on the purpose of the scientific travel. So if you want to conduct research, generate data, test hypotheses, you would want to apply under the research track. And if your goal is hands-on training, like learning a technique, imaging modality, doing job shadowing or facility roles, learning skills in facility management, then you would choose the skills track. And if you're attending a course or a workshop, then you choose the training track. This one is straightforward. So both the access and the program support research and skills, basically. So in total, we offer 5 application tracks. So access, research, access, skills, pro research, pro skills, and then the standalone training track. What about the forms? So for the research track, you fill out a project description form in collaboration with your prospective host. This includes information on the scientific background of your project, project goals, experimental plan, imaging instrument to be used, and sample logistics, how you plan to send your samples to the host, for example. And for the skills track, you complete a visit planning form in collaboration with the prospective host, describing your training objectives and visit plan. And all applicants also fill out an application form where we ask about then your scientific goals, how the opportunity fits your career path, what is your motivation, and how you plan to share what you have learned during the I4A project or funding. So, and now on the host side, host also completes a form called confirmation of support form. This evaluates the applicant's, so the application's technical feasibility and their capacity to host. And it also includes a budget estimate for facility and service fees, if it is applicable, and consumables that will be bought for the project by the host. So that is that. And from the first call, what we have learned, what makes a strong proposal, is that it is focused and not overly broad, that keeps time and budget in mind. So proposals that are feasible with realistic goals, again, for the time that you have. And proposals where proposed experiments align with the stated aims and relevant to your ongoing research and career path. And they're thoughtful about how the grant will benefit your home institution and the scientific community you're operating in. What is covered by I4A? So almost everything. We cover imaging facility fees and service fees, project-related reagents and consumables bought by the host, training course fees, travel, accommodation, meals, visa processing fees, and we also have a travel service where we handle flight and accommodation bookings for you, so you don't need to pay upfront for flights and hotels. And so the application process. So if you have questions or if you want guidance, you can email us at i4a_support@embl.de. So I personally answer this inbox. And so please send a short description of your project and goals, and we will provide application support as much as we have the capacity to do so. Then you will contact your host and prepare your planning, so the project description or visit planning together with the host and get their confirmation. And then you would submit your official application with us. And the access and the programs will be reviewed, and the results will be announced in late October, early November. The training grant, on the other hand, is faster, and we review and announce 2 times within the call. So one is at the end of June, and one is at the end of August. So depending on when you apply. So what I would like to say is to really advise anyone interested in applying to plan early, because preparation of the application takes quite a lot of time with many steps and parties being involved in the process. So this is about the call, and I just want to give a very brief overview of the first open call, so how it went, how the program went, focusing on applications from Latin America. Researchers in the first call in the region mostly requested super resolution and light sheet technologies. We also received quite some inquiries for film and hyperspectral imaging, especially to the Advanced Bioimaging Unit in Montevideo. Other applications were mass spectrometry imaging, FIB-SEM, cryo-EM, correlative imaging, and label-free techniques like Raman spectroscopy and AFM. We had so many wonderful and diverse advanced imaging techniques. Out of the 78 eligible applications worldwide, we awarded 40 grants to researchers from 18 different countries, traveling to 14 different host countries. And from Latin America alone, we received 40 applications. So half of the applications came from Latin America, actually, and we awarded 20 with a 50% success rate. Applications came from these 5 countries that you see, Brazil, Argentina, Guatemala, Ecuador, Mexico, and all had successful applicants. So the training grant had the highest success rate, almost 100%, while the pro grant had around 30% success rate. Most Latin American awardees are traveling to Europe, as you can see in the middle of the slide. And this is like the rest of our grantees from other continents, followed by the USA. We have only one Latin American grantee visiting another Latin American facility. And I think, so here I would like to emphasize that we would be happy to see more Latin American hosts join the program to increase regional and global collaboration. Of course, the awardee doesn't even need to come from Latin America for that. And and on the right side, you can see, so for the whole program, so all the hosts, so UK has the highest number of people. They're hosting the most number of people, followed by EMBL, USA, France, and the list continues. And to finish up, I would like to highlight some of the training courses and projects that we've awarded. The map on the right shows the travel path of the 16 training grant awardees, along with some of the courses that we funded. So when it comes to Latin America, a scientist from Ecuador is attending a advanced bioimage analysis course at EMBL Heidelberg. A Brazilian researcher is attending the advanced neurotechniques course at Max Planck, Florida. A Guatemalan scientist already took part in an AI-based medical imaging workshop in San Diego. We also funded some really exciting access and pro-grant projects. So you can see the selected imaging technologies and projects that highlight the wide range of scientific research fields and really state-of-the-art imaging techniques, from single molecule tracking of immune receptors to lattice light sheet imaging of organoid functionality. And we have some wonderful projects from Latin America, like the protein expansion microscope, the 10x expansion microscopy of neuronal secretory vesicles to achieve super resolution, to visualize RAP GTPases, traveling from Argentina to University of Göttingen, Germany. We have a mass spectrometry imaging of lipid distribution in melanoma from Brazil to Maastricht, Netherlands. And finally, I would like to highlight Remy's project, and he's with us today to share his experience with the application process. So he received a pro grant for a training visit to the Institute of Photonic Sciences in Barcelona to build a replica of a light sheet microscope there at his home institution. And his colleague, also from the same institution, proposed a related study, a project studying hemocyte cell dynamics during slug tail regeneration using the same light sheet system. So hopefully, as I4A, we will have contributed to a sustainable imaging environment that will go beyond the 3-4 week visit. So in this kind of joint project. And yeah, so this is what I wanted to share today with you, and happy to take questions.
Deniz, that's fantastic for a very clear and very encouraging presentation. Well, personally, I'd just like to say thank you for all the support for Latin American bioimaging. It's great to see that this support is being distributed widely around the region, and of course we're all here today to see how we can keep and develop and build on that solid base from the first round of support, which was last year. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions. However, we're going to hold on to those for a minute because we're going to hear from Remy Ávila from the Centro de Física Aplicada y Tecnología Avanzada in Mexico, in the state of Querétaro. And he's going to talk about his experiences during the first round of applications. And so I guess, Remy, if you'd like to talk about how was the application process for you, what procedures you went through, how early you contacted the hosts, and then we turn that into a question and answer session with Deniz and Remy at the end. So thanks, Remy. Please just take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you all for being here. This is a really wonderful opportunity. We were lucky enough to get the grants. As Deniz mentioned, our goal is from myself. I will go and train myself into the very, very deep details in this instrument that Pablo Loza has in ICFO. It is a light sheet microscopy, but inclined for inclined illumination and observation. And we are training. I will be training myself, doing experiments together with a colleague from the Neurobiology Institute here at the same campus at UNAM, working on the dynamics of hemocytes in La Babosa de Jardín, the land slug. Yeah. So why the story goes like Pablo Loza, in fact, told us about this opportunity, and we started by talking. The first evident step is to talk with your host. Okay, what can you do? What will you do together? And then we had a meeting, of course, and we followed. It is in fact very simple. Deniz has made it really simple. I really thank you and appreciate that, because the instructions are very, very, very clear. So, for example, to access a pro grant, they recommend first to send a very short email to Deniz, and so she can evaluate if it really is it is a project that is intended for a pro grant or what kind of grant, and she tells you it matches the objectives of the program, or you can change. And in this case, it recommended to complete a form. So we completed a form. We wrote a project grant, like a research project grant for the observation specific that we were going to do. And for myself, I made a visit plan together with Pablo Loza by filling a form that already I4A provides, and send it along. And the dates were very different this year. I guess we had we started at in November last year. We had the announcement by March or April, something like that, right? So
Yeah,
I saw
I think so. Mhm.
the dates changes from for these call for application, right?
Changes. So we have a longer application period this time. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
one long, yes, application period. And in the first call, we were a little bit late to announce the results, not taking into consideration so the holidays in Global South, and yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. So we received the good news, and then we had not much time to plan everything, but enough. And they were kind enough. They bought the air tickets, and they booked the hotels, which is the most expensive things. And then we will be reimbursed for the expenses. And one very interesting thing is that the host institution has the means, the money given by the program to buy the whatever consumables you need, or also pay for a eventual fee that the host institution requires. As I see it, it covers really everything you need, and it's a really wonderful experience. I hope we will be able to make this kind of instrument here in Mexico, and then become also a host institution of this program.
Good. Thank you, Remy. I would just I will also say that I was also trying to I intended to apply in the first round, and I was one of those that left it too late. Okay, so what Denise said and what Remy said, start planning this now, because you need a lot of
Yeah.
input from your hosts. And believe me, hosts who are running core facilities are very, very busy, and they may not be able to reply the next day. It may take them a week to reply. It may take longer. Okay, so this was something some of us here run core facilities. It's obviously understandable. But still, don't underestimate how much time you need for a bit of backwards and forwards. It may be the host you identify may then say, actually, I think you might be better talking to somebody else because they have a slightly more appropriate equipment. And that's actually what happened in my case. So we kind of had to make a new connection quite late on in the process. And we weren't able to get it done in time. So I'm going to be applying this time. With more time available. So I thank Denise for making this more time available this time. So that's, again, another personal experience, but do not underestimate that it could take a bit more time than you think, particularly when it comes to interacting with your potential host. Okay, so we now have some time available for questions and So if you wish to, if you have a question, please raise your hand or write your question in chat. I can read out questions if you don't have access to a microphone. So please raise your hands if you have any questions for Deniz and or Remy or anyone else here. So Lorena, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much for this information. I think it's great. My question is, would a project in which someone expert visits a center, an imaging center, to build a microscope on site, would that kind of thing be eligible for any of the instruments?
So you're asking the other way around.
Yes.
Not in this call, unfortunately.
Okay.
This is
That's fine.
something we also would like to support, maybe in the later calls or maybe in the second round of the program. This is something that we wanna,
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Lorena. Does anybody else have a question? Has anybody here did they try and participate, or were they able to is this the first time you've come across this scheme? Hopefully we had a lot of applicants from Latin America. I hope we're going to have a number of applicants this time around from Latin America as well. And with a 50% success rate, this is very, very encouraging from the last round. Lorena, another question.
Another one.
Oh.
I wonder. The other question, I was very excited about the fact that you are looking for centers in Latin America to work as hosts. I wonder whether it would look bad if one of the applicants would choose us when they are already a user. I'm thinking people from a different province that comes not so often because of budget limitations, if they would be eligible for a more regular visit, for instance.
Yeah, that's a good question. We support that, but we do not support within the same institution. So you can
okay, good.
As an external user from the same country, even. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you for clearing that up. Does anybody else have a question? Anybody else have any doubts? Remy, please.
I do. I have a question. UNAM is a very, very big institution, country-wide. So there is UNAM, say, in 2,000 kilometers from here. Can someone working at UNAM come to a facility, say, Chris facilities? It is not the same research institute, but it's the same institution, which is the university. You see?
Yes. I don't know. I have to think about we didn't take that into consideration ever. But that's a yes. We will think about this and come back with an answer.
Again, probably
it's possible, I suppose. Yes.
Probably wise to make that inquiry very early in the process to give time for Deniz and her co-organizers to make inquiries and to clear that point up. So again, don't leave that to the last week before thinking maybe I should check that out. So as early as possible will give you the best chance of getting the answer that you need. Lorena. No, go ahead.
There's a brainstorming. The other question is, you said that almost anything would be eligible as an expense, but an attachment, as an equipment attachment, piece of equipment, would that be eligible? No, okay.
Not really, no, hardware not.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I guess capital expenditure. No, it's all about facilitating access. So all the other things that normally aren't available to try and smooth the process of getting people traveling between areas and learning new techniques and improving their knowledge. So, okay. More time for questions. Andre Gomez, please. If you wish to give your question in Spanish and Portuguese, or Portuguese, we can translate. So English is fine as well. So please go ahead.
Hi. Uh, I was thinking about experiments with animals or the use of experimental animal facilities. You say that it's covered, but what is the paperwork that has to be done in advance? I mean, ethical committees and all the other paperwork that's necessary.
There's no one solution to that. It really depends on from where you're going where. So it's all about local regulations.
Exactly.
So that also needs to be researched, yeah, and given time again, like to see if this is at all possible. In some cases, it may not be possible at all, but we are not aware, so we do not have the knowledge on all the transport, biological, sample transport regulations. We have to look at it project per project, and yeah.
But we have in our facility, we have the vocal to work with animals. We have the vocal for creation. If we are hosts and and someone wants to come to our facility and do this experiment, so the paperwork necessary, the local paperwork for those experiments. I mean, specifically for those experiments or authorization for the ethical committees. And our institution is enough for that.
I'm having a difficult time from the voice is breaking. So if anybody understood,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
it's totally fine.
these questions are in the application form. So there's sections in the application forms that cover plans for and asking for information about how these sorts of biological sample preparation, if there needs to be some sort of import process, export process, that needs to be outlined on the application process itself. So it's obviously worth, again, as early as possible, whatever plan you have to start investigating these with your local hosts, and also the processes that apply in your country if you wish to take samples. It's very important to get those processes worked out as part of the application process. Okay.
Yeah. I just heard of South Africa, for example, and the new regulations apparently make it almost impossible to import human infectious samples, for example. They need to fill out like, I don't know, so 20 pages of so yeah, it's depends, I guess, where.
So not impossible, but not always easy. So that is something you need to take into account when you are thinking about hosts. So, it's not that everything is possible. So sometimes it could be easier going to a different destination or looking for a different host in another country.
Yeah.
Claudia Sánchez has a question.
Hola, Cris. Voy a hacer la pregunta en español para que quede más claro. Si yo me pongo en contacto con un investigador en algún lugar que me interese, que tiene la técnica, la tecnología que a mí me interesa, ¿cómo sé si esa opción es elegible, es posible? Tengo que ponerme en contacto con ustedes primero para que evalúen esa posibilidad, porque no me gustaría hacer todo el proceso, el proyecto, etcétera, y que después no sea elegible. Como que no me queda tan claro cuáles son esos criterios. Gracias.
So, Claudia's question is about checking eligibility. So it's obviously a long and involved process about contacting hosts, etc. So what's the best way to check eligibility for the host who would be able to receive an inquiry, such as if Claudia would be interested in going to a particular host? How can she best check that they are eligible under the terms of this scheme?
If she's unsure, write an email to me, and we will see if it's eligible or not. But under the access track, all imaging facilities and labs with imaging equipment, they're eligible. So if they're placed in a university or an institution, institute, so they would be eligible. And for the pro, we have the lists on our website, so she can check that. And but if she's still unsure, like please just send an email and.
Ok, entonces todas dudas de ese estilo, pues hay que canalizar con Denise. Y quien tiene, pues ya, pues obviamente es la segunda ronda. Muchas de esas dudas surgieron durante la primera convocatoria, entonces pues ya tienen procedimientos mucho más ágiles para contestar esos tipos de preguntas. I will say from the National Laboratory in Mexico, we are definitely going to be filling in the form to become an accredited host. So again, that's there's the Advanced Bioimaging Unit in Uruguay has already gone through that process, and certainly in the National Laboratory here in Mexico, we will be doing that. So yeah, that will also be a situation that will develop during the course of this grant call as well. So. Are there any more questions? We are coming close to the end of the allotted hour. Does anybody else wish to raise their hand or write a question into chat? No. Remy, you have hand raised.
Yeah, very brief comment. I really want to stress, I'm impressed by Denise's efficiency. She answers everything, and she is wonderful. So don't hesitate. I dare to do that because it seems so easy for you, Denise, to do that. So go ahead and ask. She is really wonderful.
Okay, great. Thanks, Remy. Don't be shy. Okay, be bold, be brave. Get in touch with Denise. I second Remy's comments. Denise is a wonderful coordinator.
Yes.
So please just think about your science, think about your objectives, and I'm sure there's a way to make a match between your objectives and where these can be realized somewhere in the world or within Latin America. There will always be somewhere that can help. So, okay. Right. Well, if there are no more questions, then it just remains for me to say thank you very much for all of you for coming, particularly, of course, to thank Denise, firstly, for being the coordinator for this wonderful program, and secondly, for being here today and sharing her expertise and her knowledge. Thank you, Remy, for, again, being very open to sharing your experiences. It's great to see how easy and this process has been for you. So, and we're looking forward to having strong impacts for the development of bioimaging in the Latin American region coming through this year and next year. Denise, actually, there's one point. What is the time frame for actually then realizing these activities? So we're talking starting from January 2025. Can it be a little bit before that, a little after that? What sort of window are we looking at?
We prefer within the first 6 months of acceptance. In the first call, we extended that a little bit longer to 9 months. But as we come to the later stages, of course, the time frame needs to be shortened because the grant itself is only for 3 years. So I would say, yeah, within 6 months of being awarded.
Okay, and what would be there's an August date for for closing of applications. When would the decisions be expected? When would people find out that they have been accepted?
We are aiming early November, so early November, and then 6 months from that time on, so that projects would be realized.
Okay, so we're talking a window from, say, sort of mid-December, but probably effectively January to June from 2025.
Let's say, yes.
Okay, right. So there you go. Then we have the window set up. So right then, well, let's go ahead, start making plans.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias a todos.
And everyone.
Obrigado a todos.
Thank you, everyone.
Remy.
Suerte a
Bye
todos.
bye. Thank you.